to unmute. Welcome to the Cosmic Prayer. I'm Laura, and if you are watching right now or at any point, then you know that we are streaming with New Thought, or broadcasting through New Thought Media Network, this incredible focus ministry that brings so many beautiful, inspiring broadcasts and programs to us to know the truth of who we are. This is one of those broadcasts, the Cosmic Prayer, which has been running now for about approximately a year and a half. And each week, every Monday, I invite on somebody that I feel in my heart inspires with what it is that they're doing in the world, and somebody that has a wonderful message to share about prayer and how prayer can uplift and transform our lives. So this week I'm just really excited because this very special spirit soul that is here right now, waiting to come on, she has been a wonderful part woven into New Thought Media Network last year with her creative broadcast, Gather, Love, Thrive. And since then, we've loosely kept in touch, and I'm just really excited that Danae Shanti is here to share the work that she's doing in the world, amazing work that she's doing in the world. She had an incredible spiritual awakening experience, which she was sharing with me just a minute ago, which I'm sure she'll talk about and share with everybody here. And that happened in 1987. And since then, she's just been a midwife, an intuitive warrior, not warrior, on the path of sharing her knowing, what happened for her, sharing it out in the world. An author of and creator of Wise Inside, 7 Steps to Accessing Your Intuition and Your Intuitive Creative Confidence. And the creator of the Hero Formula, and also more recently working with children in a really wonderful and very sacred way. So I'm just excited to bring Danae on to the Cosmic Prayer, which I'm going to do right now. Welcome, Danae.
Hi, Laura. I'm laughing so hard. I've never had it coined before. Intuitive warrior. I'm like, yeah, it's a whole new level of worrying. Intuitive worrying. I'm like sitting and wiping my eyes, so I was laughing so hard.
Don't cry. You've only just come on the show. Oh, well, I see you as that, and knowing you and in the kind of loose way that I do, and reading your website and reading your energy and your consciousness, and knowing that you are involved in so many beautiful projects, this creative flow, I can just really feel it from you. And welcome here. Thank you for saying yes to being here.
Oh, it took us a year, but we did it.
We did it.
So thank you for your steadfast invitation and continue to circle back. It's so exciting to be here. And even our conversation pre-broadcast is just so much love and laughter. It's wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, yes. We're going to expand on that now, because I'm really interested. You talked about, you talk about prayer as being this intuition that you tap into it in every moment. Yeah. How do you use prayer, or how do you open up to using prayer in your daily life?
Yeah, beautiful question. Thank you. You know, when I wake up, the first thing, the most important thing to me is, who am I? Right. So I just come out of sleeping and probably dreaming. I'm a vivid dreamer. And the most important thing is my identification. Who am I? And I know immediately I am an instrument of God. I'm an instrument of spirit. I'm an instrument of the divine to fulfill itself through me. And my main calling and my main focus is, how may I open myself fully to being used as that instrument? I always say that the divine knows what it's doing, and we are an expression of that divine. So the first prayer on my lips when I first wake up is, make me an instrument. You know, it's a old prayer, but it works for me. Make me an instrument miracles of love today. Fulfill thyself. I wake up and I say to God, fulfill thyself. Use this instrument for thine own purpose and fulfill thy dream that is on thy heart today through me. Use me. And I wake up in that state, because it's so easy to wake up and get immediately identified with the personality and the to-do list and all the mentalizing. And, I did that for too many years. And for my own self, that's just not a fulfilling way to live. It's so glorious to watch when we utterly surrender and devote ourselves to being instruments. Whoa. I go to bed every night going, wow, God, wow. Like I do gratitude prayer to start my day and end my day. There are times I can't even get it out. There's too much to articulate. So I just sit there going, wow. I don't know if I answered your question, but that's how I do it. I wake up and I go right in.
Oh, you have. Oh, definitely answered my question. And I love that, what you're bringing forward here about the beginning of the day and the end of the day. It's like bookmarking with this, because for me, that's like, I do that. I'm very aware of the beginning of the day and the end of it, whatever time the end of the day happens to be, to bookmark it. And then I get into this space of, well, I'm actually daily living. It's like on a hamster wheel of being involved in this prayer that I'm in. And it feels really good to do that.
Yeah, I have a program that came to me years ago called Soul-Centered Wealth. You know how you just get divine inspiration, it channels through you, it just downloads through you, called Soul-Centered Wealth. And as it was given to me by Spirit, it has a workbook. It's actually called a daily playbook, and it has 3 stopping points throughout the day where you just take a 5-minute, right before your lunch break, you take a 5-minute prayer break. And you have these checkpoints through the day. Am I still in attunement with my divine? Am I still in the co-creative aliveness of serving that divine with my very being? And it's yummy. It's just, it's fun to live that way. I think it's fun. You seem to think it's fun.
Oh, I think it's fun. And I think I remember that when pre-prayer, how I lived pre-prayer, and it felt, now I look back, I can see, it was quite random how I lived. I'm a spontaneous, I love spontaneity anyway, but I feel that being in that zone, if you like, for me, that I can be spontaneous and yet I'm listening. So I know that I'm not just doing it because of fulfilling something that, wild ego dream. I'm listening.
Yeah. I think about it this way. In my book, I refer to us as God sparks. We're all little God sparks running around. I think of it this way. God, and you can use words interchangeably, right? Spirit, co-creator, universe, whatever the word is. I happen to have the word God since I was a little girl before it had a religious context. So I stick with that. Sometimes I say God spark. God is not bored. God is ever evolving, constantly illuminating joy, exhilaration, pouring out life force, right? So spontaneity, improvisation is the nature of God. Brilliance and genius just arises. Look at nature, right? It just arises. Well, the same is true with us, right? So what you said, when I pre-prayer, lived my life that way, I had my to-do list that I set up the day before, and it was very analytical. This is my to-do list, and I have to get things done, and business calls for this. It was very much like being in a straitjacket, and I'm not knocking to-do lists. However, I lost my identity from being a divine being into being a go-bot and a do list person, right? So I was a person doing instead of being. And the spontaneity and the improvisation and the aliveness of God comes through us. So when we're living our lives from that state of consciously intended and set prayer for the day, and we stay attuned to that, all kinds of wild, spontaneous fun and miraculousness comes up. Here's a little example with Singing Children Home. I thought, I need to turn this into a nonprofit sooner than later. I thought maybe I'd have down the road we'll become a nonprofit. And I kept getting the message from Spirit, you need to form that nonprofit now because this thing's going to take off. So I woke up, I heard that message, and I prayed and I said, dear God, if it's true that you want this to be a nonprofit ASAP, then send the people to help me do it, because I don't know how to do that. And I'm doing so much research. I can't go deep into that one avenue of focus. Got done with my prayer, felt that I was received and heard. 2 hours later, I get a call from a friend who's like, by the way, I want to contribute. I don't know what you need, but I'm really good at setting up nonprofits, you know, like your life goes like that, right?
That is so amazing. It's asking that daring to ask and to surrender that you did there and then. And because that could be quite a scary thing, even if you've created something and there may be a part of you that thought, I don't know, I'm just supposing there could be that part that says this has to be a business and I have to make money from it and I have to, and then to know that that's not the path for it, to be a nonprofit. And you then supplied with the avenue, the people, the places, the information. Yeah, I think I love hearing stories like that, because for me that's just another confirmation of you're on the right, you're doing the right thing and listening.
Yeah, that,
so
I mean,
beautiful.
That's my life. My life. The reason why I wrote Wise Inside was because I have so many cosmic stories that are so funny and so outrageous. I thought no one is going to believe me. They're going to think I'm making things up, and so I shoved them all in the book. I shoved a small bit of them in the book because I have a lifetime.
You wrote them beautifully.
Oh, thank you. You know, it's like, okay, you and I were talking about, right before we came on, we were talking about gathering the women who have had spiritual awakenings and make, you know, like the Harry Potter movies, making a movie sequence with each woman gets to have her own story produced, right? I'm like, yeah. Well, I actually last year ended up on the phone. I don't even know how to explain this, but it was an opportunity to take your ideas and have them produced into movies by major companies. It was a whole thing. And I got on the call just to say, I don't know anything about this. I know about producing movies, my soul knows, but what is this about? And they offered an opportunity, and I said my idea, and they were like, yeah, that's really hot right now. And I got off the call, and there was this funny feeling in my stomach, like, I don't think I'm ready for that kind of stress and demand. There are other things I need to mature through first. And I want to be well grounded in my choices. So I went for a drive, and I ordered my lunch. I was in the parking lot, and I dropped into prayer in the parking lot with my eyes closed. I said, God, show me a sign. I want to be well grounded. I only want to follow your divine timing and your unfolding and never move by my personal will. Please let me know. My feeling is to let this go, and that makes me feel well grounded. I kid you not. I opened my eyes. This truck had parked next to me on my left side. I turn and I look. It literally says well grounded across the side of the truck. I mean, I'm constantly in a movie where that goes on all the time. I'm like, how do you give this love? How do you give it away? Give the love away. Give the love away, because it comes in torrents.
I love it. Well, you know what? The weirdest thing is happening right now. There's somebody downstairs with a motorbike. I would like you just to keep talking, because I'm just going to ask them to turn the motorbike off for a minute, because it's very loud. Well, could you just?
Right. I'll talk on. Okay, so that's one story. Another one, and this story is getting to be famous. And all these stories are available on my YouTube channel, Danae Shanti Thrive. The stories are under story time. Story time is all about these crazy cosmic moments. There's the one about the cat litter box topper. And oh my God, your last name, cat litter box topper. Now I have to finish because I started. I'll make it lightning fast. I needed a cat litter box topper. You know, the little hood that keeps the cat litter in the box. And this is like 8 years ago. I was tired. I was cranky. I was whiny. I didn't want to shop anymore. And my guidance the next light, which was completely in the opposite direction of where my mind was having me go to buy a cat litter box topper. So I argued with my intuition. I finally surrendered and turned left, got to that next light, and clearly heard turn around and go back. Now, from turning left to get to that light, there was this blinding flash of light, and I was driving into the sunset. So I thought, oh, you know, that the sunset caught something on my dashboard or whatever. I didn't think anything of it. I get to the next light. God says, turn around and go back. Really pissed me off because I'm already tired and cranky. I don't want to be driving in circles. And I remember, Danae, you taught thousands and thousands of people to trust their intuition. You're arguing with yours. How insane is that? Just turn around and go back. That's what you were told to do. I turn around, I drive halfway back, and I hear look down, and I look down. This is a 2-lane road with a big meridian in the middle. Sitting right there in the middle of the meridian is a cat litter box topper in perfect tact that wasn't there when I drove by 2 minutes earlier.
That is just, you know, when we're open, anything can happen.
How does that happen? I understand it's divine, but like literally for years, I've been like, did it precipitate out of thin air? Did it create itself from the prana? Did a truck drive by and happen to drop a cat litter box topper right behind me? Like, how does this happen? And how is it that I
all free
go there and it's free and I didn't have to drive the 4 miles to the store? So like that, I really believe when we live from prayer and joyous expectation and gratitude, we are met over and over beyond our wildest imaginings. I really believe that, and I live by that.
And that one word that you've just said, well, 2 words, joyous expectation, that's so key. For me, that's so key to be in that expectation, knowing it's already happened. Because it can be, I'm speaking for myself here. I can get to that place where, oh, what? I'm impatient. It's not happened. I want my life to be like this. I want that.
Amen.
I want this. I want all these wonderful things I'm creating to be happening, and I want to get it done now. For me, letting go and just knowing that actually it is happening already. I don't have to just be excited about it. Have that element of play and joy and fun with it rather than the bogged down. Why do we give ourselves that pressure that it has to be, you know, in our humanness, it has to all be unfolding as we want it, or else?
You know, for me, it's just your classic control issue.
Oh, right. Okay, that's true. I need some help.
The other human being I know is like, I want it now, I want it this way, and it can't get here fast enough, you know?
I'm just a control freak.
Underneath my divine God spark is a control freak.
It's okay. Let's welcome some people in here. We have Brandy. Welcome, Brandy. So grateful I was spirit-led to you today. There we are.
I have chills from her saying
Brandy in. Wonderful. Yeah. Let's just see. We have some other comments. Yes, Brandy, that would be amazing. We all have such a wonderful story. We all do have such a wonderful story. And Bonnie is here. Bonnie, how do you develop? So Bonnie, I'm just going to do a quick shout out for Bonnie Gonzalez because she has her broadcast coming up at 8 o'clock UK time, which is 2 p.m. No, it's not 2, it's 1. 6, 7, 8, 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Bonnie has her show, Your Doula for Grief, here on New Thought Media Network, which is amazing. And this week she has a really incredible guest coming on, Ryan Pulley, Reverend Ryan. So welcome, Bonnie. A question for Danae. How do you develop this ability to trust what you hear? How do you distinguish this voice from my chatter?
I love this.
Great question. Thank you, Bonnie.
I actually already have a video out there as a teaching on this, and it is, how do you distinguish intuition from mind, from mental process? So, you know, search for that on YouTube. I have 2 things to say about that. First of all, I have 1,000 things to say that, but I'll boil it down. So on my YouTube channel, Danae Shanti Thrive, I have endless free teaching videos all about intuition and making distinctions like that. That one in particular, I would Google that because it's on some old YouTube channel. There is, and lastly, I am actually teaching a course online starting on March 17th, which is all about training people exactly how to establish a very firm, solid relationship with their guidance through the hero formula from the book. The tidbit that I would give is there is a feeling of settledness and heart presence and love and peace that accompanies when you're dropped in and you're listening to the voice of your intuition or the voice of spirit, creator, God, whatever you call it. There's a distinctly different feeling, sensation, a warmth, a radiance, a quietness that is a different experience than when we're in our heads and the monkey mind is going, or analysis paralysis is going on, and we're overthinking or processing. That's a very mental activity that doesn't bring feeling and sensation. That's a key thing. When you're in your intuition, when you're in communion with the divine, there is feeling and sensation, there is peace, there's love, there's warmth. When you're in your head, you're not feeling anything. You're from here up. The mind is not a feeling apparatus. It doesn't bring the quality of vitality and aliveness. It brings stimulation that's very different for the nervous system than being immersed in the divine. I hope that helps.
So I have a question on that then. Even when we're in that place of really tuning into intuition, rather than the egoic, gotta do it now because that's gotta be a good move. Coming from this place, it still may not unravel and outpicture the way that we still think and feel it should.
Exactly.
Is that right?
Oh, exactly. Yeah. I mean, this is still the hardest thing for me to get as a human embodied personality. And my muscle's getting stronger. I mean, it's been since 1987. When we attach ourselves to our personality's picture of how something ought to be, we create suffering. When we attach ourselves to divine unfolding and surrender and lay it at the feet of the divine, knowing we are the instrument of the divine, we're not separate. We can't be separate from the divine. That's the stuff we're made of. When we lay it at the feet of spirit, God, creator, universe, and we say, thy will be done, it's not giving our power away. It's calling on the divine resource within us, as us, through these instruments to bring forth into manifestation that which we have asked for. Our job is to let go of our picture of when and how and the details, because the divine intelligence, the genius that is, knows exactly who we are as human embodied personalities, knows exactly what we need and exactly what the thing is calling for, what we're asking for. We may not be fully informed to know exactly what it is we're asking for, right? However, the divine within us knows all, knows every hair in our heads, and knows how it needs to be unfolded. So the big thing is to let go of the control. Let go of the attachment to the outpicturing and the addictive part of attachment. Attach that to the feet of God. Just grab onto those feet and hold on and say, thy will be done. I surrender, I let go. I am open to receive, and with joyous expectation, I give thanks in advance, and you watch what happens.
Oh, wow. It feels like that's I don't want to say that. I'm going to ask you, what is your definition of prayer then?
Wow. Wow, that's such a juicy question. How do I boil that down? I can only speak from my direct experience, right? There's theory and concept, and there's direct experience. My direct experience is, when I pray, I am going to the God spark. I'm going to God, the divine, and why don't I just do a prayer, because that will help, right? Demonstrate.
That will be amazing. I'm going to put you on full screen.
Oh my God.
Take myself out and put you.
Woo! Okay. So let's do a prayer. I don't know about what I'm going to ask. What do we pray for? Okay, so here's where the talking stick comes in. I was given in my meditation that it helps to have a physical anchor. Sometimes when we make prayers, we need a touchstone, something to physically come back to hold, to remind ourselves, yes, I prayed about that. That was real. I meant it. And now I'm just going to take hold of my prayer stick. And I'm going to remind myself that this is tangible and real on the physical plane. I've prayed with it. So this particular talking stick, I've been traveling internationally pre-COVID for years and leading groups, and this has been held by thousands of people praying. So let's just see let's be spontaneous. Let's just see what arises right now. So what I'm doing is I'm letting go of my mind. For those who need a visual, I imagine a sunset down below the horizon of the earth. So I'm taking all my mental high stimulation energy and I'm bringing it down. I'm dropping down to my heart and I'm waiting for a feeling of quiet to come upon me. It's a sensation and an emotional feeling of quiet. And then I'm going to go into listening, and whatever speaks out next is coming from prayer. Thank you, beloved divine Mother, Father, God. Thank you that each one of us, every God spark on this planet is coming into remembrance. We all are an expression of the glory, the genius and brilliance of that which causes the universe to be. The same intelligence that rises the flowers through a crack in the sidewalk, the same genius and love that keeps all of the planets and universes and galaxies in relationship with one another. The same brilliant intelligence that knows that Mother Earth is a living being and we are children upon her. We call upon that in each and every one of us who choose to partake of this aliveness, because we know that we are in a time of tremendous birth. It is the birth of a radiant, brilliant consciousness that is divine consciousness, happening through each and every one of us embodied in form at this time. Help us to remember we are that. We are that sacred, forever, eternal, brilliant, omnipresent radiance of love that is unlimited, unstoppable, and ever victorious in the name of love. Help us to feel that we are this, we live as this. The expression of divine love that is our true nature is active, and the only presence acting here in each and every one of us who choose this for our own journey of this incarnation. Help us to know that surrendering into the divine that we are is the greatest movie, the greatest show on earth, the greatest fulfillment. Help us to remember, God, that thy power, thy love, thy glory, no matter how it is framed for anybody, religious or spiritual, is the one and only true love that exists in all things. And we call that alive through us, this day and every moment, self-sustaining, continuously expressing the grandness of the beauty and the love and the glory that is our true nature as divine spirit-embodied beings. The God spark within us, we call this awake. And I make this prayer on behalf of myself and Laura and everyone and anyone who's listening live or who listens afterwards, who chooses this prayer for their own self. We know that as it is spoken, it is already happening. We know that we can trust completely the brilliant, all-knowing, all-loving, all-providing source of our supply, the divine life and intelligence within us. We know this really is the only place where true light and love gets born from, through us. Make us instruments of thy miracles of love. I have spoken, and so it is, and with joyous expectation and gratitude, I close this prayer on behalf of us all, saying, so it is done. Amen and amen and amen.
And so it is, and so it is.
And so can you feel that?
Oh, I felt that. That was just incredible. That was so powerful.
And now just imagine, because I'm still shaking, and this is what I'm learning to do. I'm not saying I have this down. Please know that. I am learning to live in that 24/7. The
Yes.
glory and the nourishment. So many of us are looking to heal our bodies of different diseases and cranky things. It's like the nourishment, the prana that comes to us through that kind of prayer is constant. And when we live from that, we are infused. And then we are living as the instrument. And it's not just service to the world and everyone we meet and all beings and all ethers. We actually, our cellular structure changes. We get healed by the physiological event of that light literally taking hold and directing our course. Literally, there's science all about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it's that, though, I find the more I do it, the more I get into that feeling and that knowing. And it feels like then I'm actually the living prayer myself, getting to that point where we're all the living prayer. We're each the living prayer.
Yes.
And yes. And isn't it, it's like, I'm just going to go into the comments here. Why do you, what can you say about this? It's like a remembering, you know, we've all forgotten, we all forget things really well. Don't we? Forget who we are. We've forgotten, going to unlearn all that stuff that teaches us that we're not, you know, we're not who we are. And we are, you know, we're to hang on to the material and the physical, and coming back to that place, for me, it's like nectar.
Yes.
Just nectar. Being there. I could be there all day long. It's like,
yes.
I know then that's kind of denying that there is this physical world, which I'm not. I know I have to live in it. And I know I have to deal with everything and be in it. And yet that connection of the connection, to be aware of that.
Yes.
Life-changing for me.
Yes. And I love the word you use is remembrance, to live in a state of remembrance. What does that mean? It doesn't mean mentally I'm going, oh, I remember I'm the divine incarnate. That doesn't mean anything. Living in the state, the embodied state of remembrance, means that is informing everything all day long. And we are living in the nectar of that ever flowing through us. It could change a conversation like that. If I have to make, my personality does not like to have to do anything at all, ever. If I could be permanently on vacation and just float like that would be my life, right? And yet I have this producer mentality and I want to serve, right? It's like, oh. So when I have to make left brain phone calls and I have to get something done, I make a prayer first. I say, God,
yes,
my only purpose right now is love. I know this looks like an agenda and a task that has to be completed. Let this be an act of love. Let me serve whoever picks up the other end of the phone. And I make that prayer and I enter that conversation to accomplish that task through the grace of love. And then the whole dynamic changes and the thing gets
so different.
Very differently. Yeah. Than a left brain, I have to get this done approach, you know? And so it is, Brandy.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And so it is. Yes. And so it is. And we have another message here from Bonnie. Why can I see Bonnie's other message? Let's just pull it up. Will it come up? Powerful and heartfelt prayer. Thank you, Bonnie.
Yeah. Thank you, Bonnie. And Brandy.
So I would like to know, and I'd like to ask this on behalf of everyone here right now, your work, that, you know, this piece that you were talking about, singing children home. Would you share what this really is and what it means and what you're actually doing in the world with this? Because I know you're not just sitting down doing nothing. You're actually doing something quite dynamic here.
Yeah, I'm like beyond the full-time work world at this point. And I, you know, the big surrender for me is I literally, this is a big reveal here. This is really vulnerable. I literally have no measurable income to take care of myself at this moment in my life. There's nothing that I'm doing that's generating income because I keep getting the message, go full on with Singing Children Home. And because I spent the last 5 years in a relationship where I was being financially supported, and I was suddenly unexpectedly exited from that relationship by the man I was with, I was exited with no financial structure, right? And that was very traumatic. So I've actually been coming out of fierce prayer every second, every day, terror, and then trying to get upright, saying, I need to get a full-time job. I need to get a full-time job. And I keep getting, your full-time job is Singing Children Home. You trust, you surrender, you keep going, you get it up as a nonprofit. You will then get income for your nonprofit. You will draw a salary. From now till then, that's all you're doing. So every day it's like, okay, oh my God, what an edge, right? So I just want to share how I got into where I am.
First of all, thank you for sharing that, because that's like a piece in itself. That's a whole cosmic prayer in itself.
That's a whole thing in itself, right?
That's a whole thing in itself, and very brave of you to share that piece. And I'm acknowledging that right now, and knowing that this is changing and transforming for you, for your highest good and for the highest good of all involved here in a really powerful and dynamic way. You're really living, walking your talk here.
I really
living deep into your intuition and following that guidance.
Yeah. I mean, I can't write the book if I don't walk my talk, right? I have to do what I'm told from within. Now, we don't have to do what we're told from within. I have to do what I'm told from within. That is my way. If God tells me to do it, I'm doing it, right? Okay, so little background. I mean, because sometimes people perceive me as this, super success in terms of following spirit and be able to receive the genius to produce and create everything that I have in the world. Traveling internationally, singing to raise money for orphanages, producing my TV show and radio shows. I have done all that. That's all been part of my life. And I've done all right, earning income for myself. But all that just suddenly came to a screeching halt 4 months ago, right? And so I want people to understand, when I share that, I'm not sharing that to say, oh, woe is me, donate money to me. I'm sharing that to say, you want to see fierce faith and total surrender? You want to see courage? The only reason I have it is because I pray my butt off. Seriously, that's the only reason I have it. This is Amanda.
Let's see Amanda.
There she is. Beautiful. Amanda came into my life in 2010. She was 12 years old. She was labeled with a terminal illness. Her parents brought me in to see if there's anything in the spiritual realm that could turn things around. And she just penetrated my heart and soul. We had quite a journey together. And because I'm an intuitive, I am communicated with by babies who haven't been born yet, angels, guides, pets, babies in utero, and people who have passed on. So I have had those relationships for many years. Amanda died 1 month before her 13th birthday. She had this gorgeous party dress she had picked out because she was fierce. She was like, I'm going all in. And, her body didn't make it. And so they had an open casket. She was in her party dress, You could still hear her spirit. She would go to the other children's rooms on the floor on the cancer ward and sing to them and pray over them. She was like unstoppable. After she died, she started coming to me. And we had this extraordinary relationship that continued from where we left off. And she kept telling me, she was very feisty. She's like, you best take notes, girl. I'm like, okay, I'm taking notes, So for a while, she would come and have these conversations with me and give me dictation, and I wrote it all down. And then one day I'm in the shower and I'm just digesting everything she's given to me. And it suddenly came to me that she gave me a program. And I'm in the shower and I said to her, Amanda, this is a program. She's like, yeah. Like, does it have a name? And she said, Singing Children Home. And when she said it, it penetrated every part of my being. And I literally fell into the bathtub sobbing because it was so beautiful. And ever since then, in 2010, she has sent, for the first 3 months, any woman I met, her name was Amanda. She was like unstoppable. She's like, I'm surrounding you. You're not going anywhere until you tell me you're going to do my program. So I in my heart, I was grief-stricken to lose a child, even though she wasn't my child. She was in my heart. I couldn't do it. For 2 years, I couldn't do it. I couldn't tolerate being with children who were going to die. I didn't have the emotional capacity. And I was still a single mom raising my own kid. Fast forward all these years later, I did fundraisers to help her parents pay off the bills, producing concerts. And in the last year, as I was coming into the demise of my engagement to the man I was with, it started rising up, singing children home. It's like, you got to get on with this. You got to get on with this. I was like, okay, but I'm one woman and this is a global program. How's that going to happen? And then everything went down with him. And in the end, I was told you couldn't stay with him and launch this at the same time. This is your priority. That was getting unhealthy fast on purpose to get me out of there so I could devote my life to this. So roll back about 3 months ago when I was I was out of that house. And I started getting messages every day. It's time to launch Singing Children Home. Follow these instructions. And so I was given instructions through prayer. Do this, do this, do this. So I put out an email to my local musicians and people who had contributed to Singing Children Home when I had a GoFundMe account like 7 years ago. And I just put out a quick splatter and started trying to reconnect with the hospitals and the other places that I thought with my left brain, I need to get in touch with children who are, the program is for children who have long-term suffering, lifelong disease, and those who have life-threatening illness, and those who are getting the label of terminally ill. It also expanded to include children recuperating from COVID isolation, children who are anxious and depressed, children with PTSD and suicidal. So the original program now has a much bigger audience of children to serve. That all came through prayer and meditation. I was given all that information. And so my left brain kept saying, get in touch with the hospitals, Children's Hospital, all these things to do. Nothing was moving. And I thought, this is such a glorious program. The program is marrying musicians with children who are suffering to come into that children's heart and elicit from them their own original song. So those children are expressing their genius in their words through their heart, whatever their theme song is for themselves, to lift themselves up, to regain their vitality and their power. And maybe with that, because creative genius gives you life force, maybe with that much life force flowing through them, they can sing themselves home to their heart where they feel safe and they're not just sitting around in between infusions of whatever. They can know they're not their disease. Maybe it can sing them home to be well enough to be able to go home to their family's home. And for the children whose path it is to end up leaving this incarnation, to sing them home to the divine. And then they leave a legacy, because the program is we elicit their original song from them, even if they've never written a song in their lives. If the children who want, we record them. We have the technology to be able to have them in a recording studio, technologically speaking, and they're leaving a legacy. Their brilliance, their words, their thoughts, their melody, their idea, their voice, their spirit. That's what Singing Children Home does. It wasn't moving. And then I prayed about it. I'm like, it's not moving. You're telling me to move it, and it's not moving. It's not up to me to move it. What do you want me to do? And Spirit said to me, honey, you need to go to the artisans and the musicians. They're the storytellers on the planet, not the institutions, not the organizations. You'll round back to them. First, you have to prove this. Go to the artisans. I was like, why didn't I think of that? Because I didn't. My left brain was on a different track, but Spirit gave me that. The minute I put out an email to the artisans, I am receiving people from all across the United States with the most phenomenal stories of their own journey. I've got like a horde of musicians ready to go to be matched with children. I've got people showing up to help develop the nonprofit. I've got a woman showing up who wants to help run the organization because I can produce events. I'm not an organization-minded business person. I've got it's like they're flooding in. And then we'll round back to the hospitals and be able to show them. We're going to do 3 pilots. We're looking for 3 children right off the bat to run 3 pilots with children in different scenarios, complete the project, all free. The parents will never pay for anything. Right now, everyone on my team is volunteering. And then we'll be able to go back to the hospitals and say, this is what Singing Children Home does for children. So that's that story.
Oh my word. And I'm just so grateful to you for continuing to listen and to follow these steps through prayer, because this is an incredible gift for children and for their parents and families that you're bringing to them to find their voice. This is the thing, isn't it? To find their voice and open up to that, the throat chakra, and to voice and express themselves. Children need to be able to have that freedom to do that.
Yes. You think about the situation most of them are in. Most of them are being told by adults who to be, what to do, what's going to happen to them. They have no power in the situation. And I'm all about children being empowered to be the divine God sparks that they are and have a voice on behalf of their own life and their own hearts and their own genius. Because if we could get them awake in their genius, they will be unstoppable. Whether their bodies die or not, their spirit will live in a state of remembrance, and they deserve that. And we need them living from that in this world today.
Yes, because they are the way forwards as well. They're teaching us.
That's
teaching
right.
us. They're so open, aren't they? Children now, so open and so aware. They're remembering. They're remembering, just like no filter. This is amazing. This is amazing. I'm so excited.
Me too.
So excited. So we have Ronald here. Hi, Ronald. Welcome into the Cosmic Prayer. Hello to you.
Hi,
great to be with you here. And Bonnie, yes, thank you for your reminder to live in joyous expectation. Yes, we were talking about that earlier. And wow, it's like 50 minutes has just gone, whew. I feel like I haven't even begun.
I know, me too.
So I'm just, before we wrap up here, I'm going to just bring up your website onto the screen, because I want to show people Danae Shanti, which I'm going to get to your here. So you have all of your offerings are here on your website, Danae Shanti Thrive.live. Love it.
And under the donation button on the homepage, we just put that up so people could start donating to Singing Children Home. Just figured that out like 2 days ago. I don't have a donation button.
Yeah, you need to be open to receiving.
I'm totally open.
And where can people find out about Singing Children Home? Yeah.
Well, and
is Singing Children Home on here as well?
It is not on the website. It has its own page on LinkedIn. So you got to go to LinkedIn to learn about it. I'm one body. I'm scrambling. I have to get a Facebook page up. There's only so much I can do in a day.
Yeah, it takes time to do these things and to do it properly so that you feel confident that you're sharing something that looks professional and feels good. And but you do have a Facebook page. I'm going to put that up here, Danae Shanti Thrive Facebook. So for anyone that's watching right now and wants to connect with you, would that be a good way just to DM you their messenger?
I'm going to be so honest. Here's total honesty. Go to my website and email me. I actually hired someone to do social media for me because the less time on the computer, the healthier I am. So email me.
Okay.
I beg you, email me.
Email you. So let's put your email. Let's write your email up here so that
it's on.
So that it is in here. What's your email address?
Very simple. It's so the website, it ends in .live, but my email ends in .com. It's just my name, Danae Shanti
at.
Thrive. Yeah, Danae Shanti Thrive.com.
I'm going to put this in here so that anyone that's watching this in the future also can just see that is your website address, your email address. There we are. Contact Danae through there, and Danae will inform you of how you can get involved with Singing Children Home or any other of the wonderful gifted services and products that Danae brings to this life. I'm excited to see how this program expands and unfolds for you and for all of the children that you're it feels like there's so many possibilities that I'm just going, oh, you could do that, you could do that, you could do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, the volunteers are bringing their own genius to help shape the organization. I love that. Yeah.
It's beautiful. Wow. Danae, thank you so much for coming here on the Cosmic Prayer and shining your light and sharing everything that you're doing. It's just so exciting.
So exciting, Laura. Thank you so much for being persistent, making sure we got to do this. You've just opened a whole world for me, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for all you're bringing.
Oh, I really invite you to come back on the Cosmic Prayer in a few months' time and just share on your progress with Singing Children Home and what you're doing to inspire people to really tap into that inspiration and the intuition that is here and follow it, because when we're following it, even when we think there are no financial funds, things appear, don't they? It's like,
oh, they do.
Oh, we're supported.
My 3 words: listen, follow, succeed. That's it.
Perfect.
Listen, follow, succeed.
Listen, follow, succeed. Thank you, Danae, for being here and for being who you are. And thank you, everybody, who's been watching the Cosmic Prayer today with us, or if you're watching this in the future, then, if you've just hopped in halfway with this, go back to the beginning and listen to all of it, because it's an amazing sharing that Danae brings to us this week on the Cosmic Prayer. Again, another testimony for tuning in, using prayer and allowing prayer to inform our lives. It's here as a powerful tool and we can use it. So, So the New Thought Media Network, I'm just going to put this up here. If I could find the little link, I'm looking at the wrong. New Thought Media Network is a focus ministry, Center for Spiritual Living Focus Ministry, with an amazing vision to bring these broadcasts to you right where you are, wherever you are. All of these wonderful shows that open our hearts to bringing us home, to knowing who we are. So every day you're going to find so many powerful shows. I mean, later on we have Bonnie coming on. We have Caregiving for Carers coming on after this show, and then Bonnie with Your Doula for Grief after this. So many beautiful ways that we can tap in to spiritual practice and knowing how we can use spiritual practices for our own lives. So I'm going to put the website of New Thought Media Network up here. I'm scrolling to try and find it. It's normally here. There we are. And there is a donate button on the website that you can go to. If this moves you, opens your heart, or you feel that this ministry here is something that you love, then first of all, share it with your friends. And second of all, go to the website. There's a donate button there. You can be woven into the consciousness of everything that we're doing, because we know that we are one and God is our source. So we support things like this because this is how we grow and expand in our own consciousness. So there's the website, and like the Facebook page, share it out with your friends and use prayer for your life. Use it for your life and see the changes that it makes. A final word, Danae, from you to people listening.
Gratitude. New Thought Media Network rocks. Amazing human beings. And gratitude, 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 Laura. Thank you.
Thank you, Danae. I'll put your banner up here as we go out, we exit the show. Thank you, Danae Shanti, for being here this week on the Cosmic Prayer, and to everyone that's watched and viewed. And I will be back here next Monday on the Cosmic Prayer. Until then, love and peace in your heart always. Bye for now.